people with deep addictions have tried everything else, and it seems to be somehow a magic cure for addiction. What do you think is happening in that scenario? Is the medicine showing the person the root of the addiction, or is it removing the desire for the actual whatever the thing is? I'm just curious about that because this is what it's. I mean, what I've heard most about it is like, if you're addicted, go do it.
Ibogaine, yeah. 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 What I would say is that because it does, like physiologically, it does that reset of the receptors in the brain. So imagine it, like having a really deep detox. So physically, after Ibogaine, people don't have cravings and they don't have withdrawals. So even if the person didn't have an insight during the journey about the root of their addiction, when they come out of the experience and the next following days and weeks, depending on the person, even months, they experience that they don't have cravings, they don't have withdrawals. So that's already amazing, for someone who wants to stop, their dependence. So that's one part. And then, yeah, for some people, they do see like what was the root of their addiction, even like what are their triggers, what kind of relationships are part of the addiction, the environment, how that's not helpful for for them to get into the addictions. But I would say it's not necessarily like not each of the clients have that. Some do, and then some maybe more through the integration process, they figure that out. Like, oh, okay, it's coming from this, maybe some childhood trauma, or yeah. Sometimes it's also like they see it in their families. So someone in the family was experiencing maybe alcohol abuse, and then in a way it's like passed on to them. Yeah. So it's a mix, I would say. But the part that is for sure is that it removes the withdrawals and the cravings, and that's why it's very successful. Now, it doesn't mean that each person that comes, with an addiction problem and they do Ibogaine, that maybe in 3 to 6 months they don't go back to, using whatever substance, but at least they get a break and they get to experience themselves with that need without the withdrawal. So yeah. Yeah, it's powerful.
Beautiful. It gives them a reprieve from the addiction, maybe long enough to relive what it's like without that addiction, and maybe
Yeah.
that's enough motivation for them to actually make real changes in their life. What does integration look like after Ibogaine journey?
Yeah, I would say with Ibogaine, you need like a longer integration because it keeps showing you things. And if you don't have someone that supports you in some way, then you might miss those things. You might be like, I don't, not pay attention to those things. So, yeah. So I would say, I mean, depending on the clinic, what I offer is usually at least 3 sessions for integration as part of the package, right, of what I offer. But then, of course, if the person wants to continue, then we continue. But I would say it's probably good to give it at least 3 months where you have support. And it doesn't have to be like a weekly support, it can be every 2 weeks but just something so you feel like you have someone to talk to and to share like where you're at. And integration has different phases, right? So like after the journey, there's this the honeymoon phase that many people call it, where you feel really good, you're like inspired and motivated to make all the changes. And then, yeah, and then the second phase where the person is maybe already made some changes, in their routine, their habits, relationship, things like that. But then the second phase is when all things start to come back, all patterns, habits, dynamics, and so